Have you ever been told to keep it down, but then the only thing you can manage to do is whisper? That's probably because you don't know how to keep it down and still be heard clearly at the same time. Many people need to speak softer for various reasons, but most of the time they just don't know how. For example, you may need to speak at a lower volume for a meeting, or to have a private conversation in a very crowded space, or simply because the person that you're speaking with has very sensitive ears and can't deal with loud noises. Shh. Sorry. So if you need help with sounding clear and confident while at the same time speaking at a lower volume and not whispering, stay tuned. Q&A Tuesday, all your voice questions answered. Hi, I'm 𝒕𝒐𝒍𝒅, holistic voice and presentation coach with over 35 years experience in my field, and everything you find on this channel is based on science and physiology, not fluff and nonsense. So if you want real solutions and value for money, it's a free channel. Shh. You're in the right place. Before we start, remember to subscribe below and hit the bell so you don't miss the next video. Today we're talking about how to speak clearly and confidently, but at a lower volume without whispering. Now, many people call this speaking with a softer tone of voice, but here is where I'm going to put a huge spanner in the works. When we say the word soft, it actually implies to a lot of people that the sound of your voice will contain lots of airflow and noise, like whispering. So instead of using the word softer, we're going to use the descriptive less volume. Here is where I'm going to do a massive myth buster for you. Just because we're speaking at a lower volume does not mean that we're harder to understand or hear. And it does not mean we're going to be whispering. In fact, whispering is really bad for your voice. And there's absolutely no need to do that, ever. So let's dive into the training, shall we? First, let's talk about how much volume do we actually need on a day-to-day basis. If you want, you can grab a decibel meter and measure how many decibels you're speaking at before we adjust the volume. A normal everyday conversation is about 50 to 60 decibels. But when you're projecting for a work presentation or a stage performance, you might very well raise that to about 60 or 80 decibels, just to make sure that your audience can hear you clearly. Now, to give you another amazing example, an opera singer performs on stage at approximately 100 decibels. Wow, that's loud. Well, that's because they need to be heard over an orchestra with no amplification. Now, on the other side of the scale, a whisper is mostly forced air through very stiff and tense vocal folds and reaches only about 30 decibels. Now, what we want to do is keep the volume down to about 40 decibels or so, but with a clear, healthy tone of voice, not a forced airflow like a whisper, because that can ruin your voice. So here are the two things that you need to learn to make this happen. Let's start with switching our engine on for speaking. First, take a relaxed breath in, and now I want you to count to 10. And when you're doing this in a moment with me, I want you to ask yourself the following questions. What do you notice? How does it sound? Does it sound clear? Is it airy? Let's see for ourselves. Now I want you to place your hands on your hips, and I want you to monitor whether the side muscles are working or not. Place your hands on your side muscles like this and count clearly to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you feel those side muscles engage, like you can see mine engage, then you're doing the right thing and your voice will be clear. This is because you're using back pressure and support to really articulate clearly. It doesn't matter about the volume because you're using your engine correctly. Now, if you're doing it wrong, it will look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nothing will be happening to your side muscles because you're using too much air. No back pressure, no support. The bottom line is this: if you feel those side muscles engage even just a little bit, you are switching on the correct muscles for powering the voice. If you feel that the side muscles are sloppy and soft and lazy, in other words, nothing is switching on, then you might need some voice training. But here's the thing, when you're using your back pressure and support to power your voice will sound clear and projected no matter what the volume. Every time you speak, louder or less loud, you can actually clearly be heard by your listener. So I want you to practice in 3 ways. Number 1, practice at volume 10. Then practice at volume 5. And then practice at volume 3. With your support muscles switching on. Let me show you. This is volume 10, like shouting. This is volume 5, projected speech, engine on. This is volume 3 or even 2, clear speech that you can hear very clearly, but no shouting, but also no whispering. I'm still clear with support. So stop whispering and start speaking with a clear, properly supported tone. The other side of the equation are the articulators. When you're clearly articulating your words when you speak, you don't ever need to whisper either. It's completely unnecessary to do that and completely avoidable. Now, many people over-articulate when they need to be less loud. But at the same time, they force too much air through their folds, which tires out your voice very fast. Now, any speech therapist will tell you the dangers of whispering. It's very well known in voice circles. So what you need to do is practice using your teeth, your tongue, your lips, and your jaw effectively and mindfully when you're speaking to make sure that your voice is clear and projected and very easy to understand. You see, clarity and volume are extremely important in speaking tasks. So if you want to sound like a leader in business and at work, then start by speaking with good pronunciation and good articulation. Whatever you do, avoid whispering, okay? If you found that helpful today, please check out the other videos on my channel. You'll find lots of great stuff there. I'll see you next time. Bye.